Have you ever got so burned out from running a welding business that you thought to yourself, man, maybe I'd be happier just getting a job? What if you actually did it and realized it was one of the biggest mistakes you could have made? Today's guest, Scott, has lived both sides of that. Over the last decade, he's moved his fabrication shop 6 different times, built a successful architectural metal business from the ground up, walked away from business ownership entirely to become an employee, and then found out he was completely unemployable. In this episode, we talk about the realities of moving a welding business, rebuilding a business from scratch, surviving burnout from custom fabrication, and why running your own welding shop is a whole lot harder and a whole lot more rewarding than most people realize. If you've ever questioned whether all the stress is really worth it, or wondered whether the grass is greener working for someone else, you're going to want to hear how Scott's story ends. So let's get into it. Let's back it up a little bit and
Well
tell me
said.
a little bit about what you do.
Okay.
And, I like, so to what I was saying, Dave said that you have moved your shop multiple times and I should talk to you because I'm moving my shop.
Yeah.
But he also said that you went from like a business owner to an employee back to a business owner. So I kind of want to touch
Yeah.
on that a little bit later on. But
Yeah.
tell me about the moves and what prompted the moves. Like how big of a shop are you working out of? And
Yeah.
if you were to give me advice on moving my welding shop for the first time after all your moves, what would you give me? So let's start and tell me
Okay.
what you do, and
Okay.
we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, I primarily have been known in the last 10 years or so. I first went out on my own in 2016, and that was the first shop move. I moved from Bozeman, Montana, out to Tacoma, Washington, with my girlfriend at the time. I was just kind of looking for uh, adventure, change of scenery. At that time, there was just a lot of the architectural work, which is kind of what I do. Staircases, railings, fireplace, stove hoods, any sort of element or component for the home or business. That if you wanted to, look good. That's kind of what I did. And
Yeah.
at the time in Bozeman, it was lot of people have their second, third, fourth homes, whatever. Bozeman's a very wealthy area, but they wanted it to be like real kitschy Western, like rawhide lampshades and elk antler chandeliers, and
Mhm.
that's just it was always uh more of a kind of a more contemporary style, linear kind of stripped down. Like that's the difference between like rustic and contemporary. Rustic is like how many embellishments and things can I add to it? And contemporary is like, how much can I strip it back? And so I was like that. And so that kind of prompted my move out to Washington because, it's a more urban area,
Yeah.
a little more contemporary. So that was the first move back in 2016. Moved to Tacoma, Washington, and opened Splice Welding and Design. And at the time, I was doing some woodwork too, and so that's kind of where the name came from, because I was adding the steel and the wood.
Yeah.
And so that was the first move. And at that time, it was like no big deal. I wasn't tooled up at all. I was like a guy, and a small utility trailer and the bare bones tools.
Mhm.
And of course, as time went on, I tooled up a lot more, and the moves became more significant. So I continued to do like the architectural work, and that's it. Going back to like my first shop job, that's what we did, and so that's what I cut my teeth on, was the architectural work, and so that's just kind of what I focused on. I wasn't really doing any like repair work or pickup work, or anything like that. So I was pretty much just strictly focused on the architectural stuff. Worked out of a small garage that I rented from someone there in central Tacoma, and worked out of there for about a year. Found a house that had a about 1,000 square foot garage shop on it. Gentleman had passed away, but he was an old car guy, so the shop was like set up as a workspace. And so then I worked out of there for a number of years, and then I moved from the single car garage that I was renting to this, I don't know, it was more of like a 3 or 4 car garage. And then from there, moved into a commercial space, and it was after COVID sometime, maybe 2021 or 22. And by that time, the moves became, a little more challenging,
Hmm.
a lot more downtime
Okay.
with the
Just because you
setup. And
added more stuff, like more tooling
yeah,
and things like that?
yeah. I had a big 5x10 Sigmund table, another 5x10 shop built table. I had added welding machines. At that time, I had two guys full time, so I had machines for everybody, TIG and MIG machines for everybody, and then just all the all the stuff, all the grinders and the drill presses
Mhm.
and everything. And so, and what we have special electrical requirements for all our stuff, as opposed to, maybe some other trades. A lot of our equipment is three phase. And so we either have to get, phase converters, or actually the commercial space I moved into had three phase, which was nice. But when I moved, but here's the other challenge too is, a commercial space is never going to be what you want it to be. When I moved in there, it was a shell of a warehouse space. It had a single 60-watt bulb up above and like one outlet on the wall. It was silly.
Yeah.
So I had a full electrical build out to do
Mhm.
before before we could even cut a piece of material. So I wasn't
Yep.
able to produce anything out of that space for about 3 to 4 weeks.
Dang.
Yeah. And so during that time, of course, overhead continues to eat. And, then you have the expense of, the lease and the first months and the last months and triple net, all
Oh,
the
yeah.
all the fun stuff. So it's stressful because all you want to do is get up and produce and start, you know,
Yeah.
getting the cash flow coming back in.
Mhm.
So that was a big challenge.
Hey guys, Kevin here. Today, I want to talk to you about something we've been building and I'm seriously fired up about. September 11th and 12th, 2026, we're hosting the Welding Business Summit and the Fabricator Olympics. This is a 2-day event built specifically for people in the industry and who want more out of their business. Day one is all about business. This is the stuff that actually moves the needle. You'll have direct access to Josh Hewitt and Greg Giroux from the Blue Collar Insiders. These guys are industry leaders with decades of experience. They are guys who have already solved the problems that you're dealing with right now and will be helping you build solutions specific to your business. This isn't just sitting in a chair and listening all day. These are small group workshops where you'll actually be working on your business. We're breaking down how to lead your team so you're not the one solving every problem. You'll understand your overhead, your pricing, and what your shop actually needs to charge to be profitable. You'll learn how to sell work without feeling pushy, just by asking better questions and solving real problems. And they'll be teaching you how to track your jobs so you know for a fact whether you made money or not. This isn't theory. This is the stuff that people learn the hard way. And you've got the chance to eliminate years of struggle by getting it right today. Whether you're a one-man shop or you have a team of 10, these workshops are for you. This is especially important for your foremen, your lead people, and the ones you rely on every day. Because at the end of the day, if your key people don't understand how your business works, everything still falls back on you. At the end of the day, you're not just going to leave with ideas. You're going to leave with a rock solid way to run your business. Then, day two, we flip the switch. The Fabricator Olympics is where everything comes together. Fabricators who come from across America will be competing in real world challenges judged on speed and accuracy. If competition isn't your style, we've got a welding rig truck show, a metal art competition, a special 9/11 memorial tribute piece we'll be unveiling, games, giveaways, and one of the best groups of people you'll find anywhere in the industry. It's competitive, it's fun, and it'll remind you why you got into the welding trade in the first place. So here's the deal. If you're serious about making more money in your business and not just staying busy, you need to be in the room. These guys charge thousands of dollars for one-on-one sessions, and you're getting that level of access for a fraction of the cost. And I'll say this, I'm so confident that you're going to get an unbelievable amount of value out of this day that if you don't think it's worth it, I'll give you back double what you paid for your ticket. Seriously, that's how sure I am about this. So don't overthink it. don't wait and go to weldingbusinesssummit.com to lock in your spot. Then head over to Fabricator Olympics and sign up to put your skills to the test. Bring your foreman, bring your team, because one person learning helps, but a whole team aligned changes everything. Spots are limited. We'll see you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like when you moved, did you just use U-Hauls? Did you rent a tractor trailer and load it all in there and just have it go? Did you just call all the favors that you've got with people with trucks and trailers?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, beer and pizza was good enough, but to offer to friends. But then, as time
Machines get
goes on,
heavier.
yeah,
We get
yeah,
older.
there's
Beer and
not enough
pizza doesn't
pizza.
do it anymore.
There's not enough pizza and beer in the world. This is well, so we were fortunate that the commercial space was a 12 to 13-minute drive from my home shop. And so basically what we did was just made a number of runs back and forth with my flatbed. I did after
Mm,
once I got into the commercial space, I was able to get a forklift because I couldn't have a forklift at my home shop.
mm.
It didn't work that way. And also the city, there was lots of regulations there in Tacoma, and the city wouldn't allow it. So I had to rent a forklift, get everything loaded up. At that point I had like a mill, a big mill. The one I don't know if you can see it, but behind me, big
Oh,
mill,
yeah.
and a lathe and the big Sigmund table and my other shop built table, and so just made runs back and forth with a flatbed. It was like a 19-foot flatbed, kind of utility flatbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once I got over there, it's a big expense moving into a new shop, bigger shop.
Mhm.
Had to buy a forklift, so that's how we did it. We just made multiple runs, and inevitably things are just gonna get thrown together and thrown in a box or crates, and it's just as much as you try to stay organized, it's awful. And so, you know,
Yeah.
So then you get everything over there, and you've got 3 guys or whatever, that are picking things up and then setting them down, and you're like, "Well, I just set this over here. Where is it now?" And you spend half your time moving things 3 and 4
Mm,
times, if not more. You can't even find an extension cord. It's awful. There there's
yeah.
nothing there's nothing enjoyable about it.
Yeah.
Except having a little bit more elbow room, you feel like that scene in Step Brothers, where there's, like, all these rooms for activities, but,
Did you move up in size and shop every time that you moved? Okay. What are you working out of now?
yeah, so I guess kinda so that this is when things get a little cloudy because, now I'm in Montana. Now I'm back in Billings, Montana. This is my hometown. It's where I was born and raised. Family's all here, and, I'm on a property now that has about 1,800 square foot pole barn shop and about 1,000 square foot garage shop. So that's where I'm in now, is the garage shop, which I've
Mhm.
turned into the machine shop, and then the main fabrication is over in the bigger shop. But all that kind of ties in, to what we were talking about earlier about going from business owner to employee back to business owner.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you want to dive into that or
Yeah, yeah, I wanna hear that.
so after about 8 years of business ownership, I think everybody goes through this. Everybody I talk to, it's like a daily struggle. The stress, it just wears down on you, and it just
Mhm.
grinds and grinds and grinds, and you just have these fantasies where you're just like, man, I wish I could just clock in at 8 and clock out at 3 or whatever, and just go home and work on my own projects, or just,
Yeah.
put work behind me until the next day. And that's kind of the point I had reached.
Mm.
It's a tough racket, man. You get As a subcontractor, you're at the bottom of the pile, and it all runs downhill and you're at the very bottom. And
Yep.
so it's just a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and that's kind of where I was at. And there was a GC that I did a lot of work for over the years, and he was responsible for probably half my yearly revenue. And I kind of just thought about it, and he had been talking about buying a shop, kind of expanding his GC operation because they self-performed a lot. So he had a crew of like five or six guys, that were out in the field guys. They're out in the field producing, in addition to the subs. They worked on nice homes, anywhere from $2 to $10 million homes. This is nice stuff. So I kind of thought about it, and he was saying he kind of wanted to expand, and I liked him and his crew, and so I just put a proposal together, and I just kind of floated this proposal to him and said, "Hey, to bring me on, I'll sell you kind of like the big ticket items, table, drill press, saw, a couple
Yeah.
welding machines or whatever. You don't have to have a big cash outlay. I'll run the metal shop. We'll keep my current contacts. We'll just work everything through, through your business, and I'll take a percentage of all the jobs that I bring in and that we push through. And, there were some more finer points to it, but that's kind of the gist of it. And so we ran with it. And I still had a year left on my commercial lease. And so unfortunately, I had to buy my way out of that. Not the full 12 months, but that was an expensive buyout.
Yeah.
I think I got out of there. I think I paid them like 3 extra months of rent,
Hmm.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how that all worked out.
What year was this?
This was a year and a half ago about. It was about
Okay.
a year and a
Okay.
half ago. My timeline's a little fuzzy. It's somewhat recent. So now I'm in this role that I thought I was like, I figured it out. Like I figured it out. I got what I was asking for. I can
Yeah.
clock in and clock out. And what I came to discover was that at that point, eight plus years or whatever as a business owner, that I just couldn't work for somebody else.
You make a horrible employee.
I'm unemployable. I think a lot of us are, we're unemployable. Can't tell me anything. It's
I know
just,
how to do it better, faster, cheaper.
just being told like when to eat lunch and like when you can and can't. Because I'm an early riser. I wake up every day at 4:30, and sometimes I like being in the office or in the shop at like 6.
Mm.
Get a jump on things. It's nice quiet time for me. I can think clearly without you know everybody around pulling my attention in different directions. And he didn't want that. He wanted me coming in at 7 or 8 o'clock, with the rest of everybody.
You're like, my day's halfway over by then.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
yeah,
eat lunch by the time everybody's rolling
yeah.
up and finishing their coffee.
That's just it. And so, we just kind of started to butt heads on a lot of things. And like I said, after being business owner, it was really, really hard for me to transition to that role as an employee, as a
Mm.
yes man. And so that's when I kind of realized like this was probably a mistake. And then also at that time too, I was just real unhappy with living out in Washington State, and was was just felt the call to come back home to Montana. And that's kind of how it's come to where I am now. And all the name changes, right? So I was Splice Welding and Design, and then once I dissolved that business and went to work for the GC, I renamed my Instagram page Salvation Garage. Just kind of doing more of my own personal stuff on there, some stuff related to the GC that I was working with. And then when I came back here, I'm in Yellowstone County, Montana, and we've got the Yellowstone River, all that. So I renamed it Yellowstone Metal. So it's been confusing for a lot of people, a lot of my followers, and now my friends and family and acquaintances back here in Billings are like, what is going on? Like,
Look,
are you
different
are you
name, same
spliced?
quality
Yeah,
work.
I know. So it's been a challenge, like on the marketing side and
Sure.
getting everybody up to speed on what's going on because I'm typically not one of those guys who like hops on Instagram and gets behind the camera and it really kind of gives everybody like a real in-depth peek into my life. So people were pretty confused, yeah. So, like when Dave was probably telling you, and you were trying to look me up, and you couldn't find me, but then you come to my page, and it says Yellowstone Metal, but it's Salvation Garage. So it's a little confusing, and I understand, and
Yeah. No, it doesn't
that's just
matter.
how it is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that all
Okay.
played out from a 10,000-foot view. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance and
Hmm.
a lot more details to it, but
Let me hear about the nuance of
yeah.
how you got out of that did you have, like, a contract agreement? Was it just straight up employment with that GC company? Was it messy? Was it dirty? Do you guys still
Mhm.
talk? Walk me through that.
It was
Help
all
me
those things.
understand that a little bit. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was all of
It
them.
was it was all those things. There was no real labor contract in place, which was a mistake.
Mm,
That was a mistake. Not having it like in writing, instead of relying on emails and that kind of stuff. Actually having like a concrete contract in place that I did not have that, and that was a mistake.
okay.
And I think I you hear it all the time, like, "Get it in writing, get it in writing, get it in writing." And I always thought it's like, "Well, it's right here in the email," but emails what I've come to find out is that from a legal standpoint, emails are not binding.
Mhm.
It's not a binding statement, agreement, anything like that. So it was quite messy, and, no, we do not talk anymore. We are not friendly anymore, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate because we had a good relationship for a lot of years,
yeah. So you
but
not only
it's
lost your job, you lost the customer who's making up 50% of your revenue, and you lost a lot of your big tools.
yeah,
So are
yeah,
you kind of like starting over again?
I am. I'm essentially
Okay.
starting over, but, I'm in a much better place,
Mhm.
both, physically, Montana just can't be beat, but, emotionally and psychologically as well.
Mhm.
A lot of the relationships out there were beginning to deteriorate as the economy got weird. It's like I was saying earlier, the sub is at the bottom, and so just a lot of it falls on us. And I had made the decision actually the way it worked out was I had made the decision to move back to Montana, and then I went to the owner of the company and I said, hey, I'm deciding that I don't like it here anymore. I want to move back to Montana. And then that's kind of when, I didn't get fired. I mean, I guess I kind of quit, but once that happened, then once I said that, things kind of got messy.
Mm.
But yeah, I lost a lot of my big ticket items, but I still, I didn't. The one thing I've learned is you always got to leave yourself an out. Always leave yourself an out, and so I kept welding machines. I kept my mill, my lathe,
Mhm.
a couple saws,
Yeah.
table, so that if what hits the fan, I have to hunker down. I can do that, and so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in the process of retooling up here and getting my house sold out there and using the proceeds from that to kind of get back on my feet out here. But I'm here in Montana. I'm producing work and um
Awesome.
yeah, it's all good. The highs and lows of this racket are just extreme, like very very seldom is it just even keel, it's
Yeah.
real high highs and real low lows, and it's those swings, that really can get to a lot of people and really be a huge source of stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with starting over again in Montana, because worked and built a business in Montana previously. What year was that about? when you were first?
Well, I hadn't started my business out here. I hadn't worked in Montana on my own. This is my first time here as a business
Got
owner in the state of Montana.
gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay. How has been like how has market so you've been doing this since what, 2016? So about
Yeah.
10 years on your own.
Yeah,
How
10 years
has
exactly. Yeah.
really? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
How has marketing uh changed from 2016 to 2026 right now with like because you was essentially almost kind of started over a few
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
So how has the evolution of starting over been throughout the last decade for you? Like what have you seen differently?
I mean, in 2016, when I moved to Tacoma, I did not know a single person there, and literally no one. I had no contacts. I mean, looking back, it was stupid. It was like it was a dumb move. But I mean, if I was a smart man, I would have been a doctor or an engineer or something. But in 2016, I was out there. So some things have changed, and some things I don't think will ever change. I mean, in 2016, I was literally pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, driving around on Sundays in the rich neighborhoods, seeing what kind of builds were happening, seeing if I could get names of some GCs on some of these build sites, and then contacting them Monday morning, or coming back Monday morning at the end or Monday afternoon at the end of the day and trying to catch someone, introduce myself, just real old school boots on the ground type stuff.
Mhm.
And hardly had any followers on my Instagram page, so it was a real struggle in the beginning. Now, 10 years later, social, I mean, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Which I'm not on TikTok. There's just between Instagram and Facebook, that's enough for me. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's all social media now, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm self-admittedly I'm pretty poor at it. But I
Most of
mean
us
I
are.
mean, yeah, some people are pretty good.
Some, most of us are not.
I mean, I think most of us are good at our craft, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what we focus on, and that's what we love. I love being on the tools. I love it.
Mhm.
And that also contributed to, a lot of my decisions in the past, because the more you grow, the further away from the tools you get, and you just spend all day in an office or running around in your truck.
Mhm.
But so now I'm back in my hometown, and I do have a lot of contacts here, but it's an awareness thing of getting the word out to friends and family and those on social media that, hey, I am back in town now. Throw me work.
Mhm.
I have to be bold about it, and it's just not my style. So I'm just like spamming Facebook every day with posts, but that's just how it is. That's just how it is. I mean, it has changed so much. But then also, like I said, I don't think some things will ever change. Like just pounding the pavement and knocking on doors and going and introducing yourself, being outgoing and try to go to events where there's going to be other, industry folk, even talking to, your local suppliers and vendors, the gas supply and the steel supply and wherever you get your hardware and construction supplies.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just constantly promoting yourself.
Yeah. So, since you've been through this so many times, what advice would you have to give me, who is now moving my shop? I'm going from I'm in a 2,600 foot, 2,400 square foot shop right now. I've
Yeah.
got a couple sea containers. I have like a few hundred feet. I have a double wide sea container that is it's our cutting shop. So I have a lot. I've thinned out all my useless junk, but I still have a lot to move.
Yeah.
I went and I bought pallets, I bought
Yep.
some crates to throw things in because you can't move a welding shop in cardboard boxes, like, that's just not
No.
gonna work.
No, you gotta build crates.
Yeah, so what are some of the, what's some advice you have for me with
Well,
moving?
I mean, be prepared for the downtime mentally,
Mhm,
because it's going to be expensive. You are going to be hemorrhaging money, There's not going to be a single dollar coming in. Um, what do you have for employees?
So
Do you have any?
like a year ago, I actually switched from an employee model to I just use subcontractors who come in and
Okay.
help me out on projects. So they'll
Okay.
either come in at an hourly rate and use my tools, or they'll quote the job for me, use my tools, or they'll quote the job, do it at their shop, and then I just pick
Interesting.
it up, take it to do put whatever finish we need on it, and then I'll do the install. So I do most of the
Gotcha.
installs myself, but they do a lot of the fabrication now, and then some of them
Okay.
might help me on the install. So at a unique point where I don't have any full time, I don't have any 40-hour a week W-2 employees, but I have guys doing things all the time.
Yeah.
So
You're still managing labor.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting and unique situation. I guess are you planning on trying to utilize like just temp work from like local temp agencies to do like a lot of the just lifting and moving, or have you thought about it?
I don't plan on that.
Yeah.
So let me tell you my idea from a guy who's moved quite a bit, but has not moved his welding shop. So I am not going to do anything until this property is completely sold and we have money. Because I'm not moving my shop without money in my pocket and the title transferred over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being under contract is one thing, but nothing happens till money gets exchanged. Not doing anything there, but I'm preparing ahead of time. So like I said, I bought crates, I bought pallets. I picked up like 150. They're not like milk crates, but they're heavier duty plastic crates. They came from a
Yeah.
greenhouse. Just to like throw spray paint in and what
Yeah. That's exactly what I did. I got those Home Depot, the black totes with the yellow lids or whatever. I
Yeah.
got like 50 of those, of kind of various sizes. Yeah, for all that kind of it's just the loosey goosey stuff, like all your solvents and paints
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's exactly how I did it. Crates, pallets, and kind of your more industrial, storage totes, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my thought with it. So I'm fortunate enough. I have two forklifts. So I'm going to put one at the spot that I'm going to move my stuff to. I looked at a shop. I've looked at a few places. I'm kind of in between about do I just go full on? Well, I mean, to back it up a little bit, my end goal is to buy a big piece of property, build a house and a shop on that property. Not at a position to do that right this minute because we're pretty picky about where we want to go and the properties that we're going to have. So
Yeah.
realistically, we're looking for land right now, and
Okay.
then I have to build. I'm not like I'm still haven't made a decision what I'm going to do as to whether I'm going to pack it all up and just literally just put it in storage and then just outsource everything, or am I going to store most of it, but then also have a little spot to work at as well. But my idea is I'm going to put one forklift at the new place, one forklift at the old place, and I'm just going to palletize everything, put it on my deck over trailer. I have a 45-foot enclosed trailer, like race car hauler. I got
Mm.
another 20-foot enclosed trailer. I have a thing for trailers. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're set up pretty good. I mean, that's exactly how I did it. Basically, forklifts and pallets and crates. I tried to keep like items together
Hmm.
so that when you do need to go find something. And one thing, I think, I like your idea of keeping like kind of like a skeleton kit, like at the ready in case you do need to do something, just the bare
Hmm.
bones stuff, like a few grinders, a way to cut material, and maybe like an assembly table. Maybe it's not like a full welding table, but something to get you by,
Yeah.
um, in a pinch. In a pinch, I would not recommend kind of like boxing everything up and kind of I don't know, you're kind of dead in the water at that point, if something comes up, because you don't know what's gonna none of us knows what kind of calls we're gonna get on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Well,
it's just
so I also have a full welding rig too. So
okay,
I can it's a, Ram
great,
5500, 11-foot body, crane on it. I've got I t like,
sweet,
I'm not dead in the water for mobile stuff, but, I have 2 4 by 20-foot tables, 2 5 by 10 tables, and I mean 5 by 10 plasma table, iron worker, brake, freaking yeah,
okay,
everything else. Tubing bender,
yeah,
roller, everything's paint
nice,
racks and oh my
yeah,
gosh. Yeah,
yeah, that sounds
it's a
awful to
lot.
move.
It really is.
It's awful, yeah. Like I
But,
said earlier, like, all of our stuff is, like, big, heavy equipment,
yeah.
it's not fun, and, making those moves and the picks and the offloads and every time you handle one of those pieces of equipment, you run the risk of damage or
Mhm.
an accident, and so you really have to remind yourself, like, slow down, make deliberate moves, and just be careful with everything.
Mhm.
'Cause a lot it's just yeah, big breaks and iron workers and 5 by 10 tables. I mean, if plasma tables, I would consider that a precision tool, so, the fork bumps into one of your rails, and
There goes
but
$1,500.
I know. It doesn't take much, anymore, like, $1,000 is the new $100. It's like everything's $1,000.
Dude, yeah, I thought break out another 1,000 was just for boats. Holy cow. Welding machines. I
It's
just
just
had
like,
a I just
yeah.
I just had a welder let all the smoke out of it for I have no idea what happened, but I'm like, "You know what? I'm not even gonna look at it. I'm just gonna wrap it up in shrink wrap." I have 3 other TIG welders to replace it, and I'm just gonna not worry about it until I'm in my new spot.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah,
then, it might
exactly.
wait until I finally build something and move it forever, and then I'll worry about fixing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. I mean, just be prepared for, a lot of constrained cash flow, I would say.
Yeah.
Like a lopsided cash flow where you just have way more money going out than you do coming in. It just runs so counter to what we have conditioned
Used to.
ourselves to as business owners, of having that good cash flow, that good positive cash flow,
Yeah.
and it's like the opposite. And so it can be a little frightening, very stressful.
Mhm.
And if you have wife and children, that are having to deal with that as well, it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, truly from every perspective, it's a tough deal
Mhm.
moving shops and big changes, big risks. So yeah. And
Yeah.
really that's all business is just a series of risks on a daily basis.
Risks and solving problems.
Solving problems and taking risks, and you try to take the risks with as much information as possible. But ultimately at the end of the day, that's what we're getting paid for, is the risk of being a
Mhm.
business owner, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about like your Instagram is full of some really awesome stuff. Like
Thank you.
your creativity and your attention to detail is like it's pretty awesome. What do you now that you're back to Montana, what are
Yeah.
you looking to focus on? Are you trying
Mm.
to do just more of the higher end creative stuff? Are you looking to grow your business? Are you tell me a little bit about your
Yeah.
moving
That's
forward
a
from
good
here.
That's a good question. That's a good question because I went from a highly populated area, Tacoma, Seattle, combined is, you know, 2.5 million or something like that, to a town of 150,000. Montana, we're just regular people. You're not, for the most part, the wealth is not concentrated here in Yellowstone County. Um, so doing those super nice high-end projects where they expect perfection and are paying you top dollar for those insane details and attention to detail and the fit and the finish. Now I need to focus just on kind of, good old-fashioned down and dirty welding and fabrication projects, repairing trailers, Just pickup work, jet boat repairs. I think railings and gates will always kind of be a bread and butter thing, that people will need. But here it's just not going to be at the level that I was working at before.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with that, because one thing I learned is that, those high-end projects, I don't think you really fully get compensated for the really fine details. Like, they're asking you to put a price on something that you've never done before. And you kind of have an idea. It's like, okay, all these brackets for this handrail all need to be machined in the mill and the lathe, and they all need a linear grain finish and so on and so forth. And you can put your best guess on it. But even the wealthiest clients have their limits. Sometimes they'd be like, "Whoa, that's a crazy price." But so I honestly, I don't. I'm kind of looking forward to, uh, just kind of like a reasonable expectation of a well-built product and not like perfection.
Mhm.
You know, so. Uh, I'm changing my focus now to kind of, being able to take on more pickup work and, cast a broader net, instead of just focusing on kind of the architectural stuff. And I will say too that, one thing I learned was that if, like, I pretty much just got pigeonholed into the architectural world, and a lot of those projects, you'll get contacted about a project, but maybe they just broke ground. And a lot of these houses, like, they're not going to be ready for your finished product for like a year and a half,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
And so, unless you have like a wide client base, and of course, none of the schedules never match up. It's like sometimes you'll just be like buried with like five projects or whatever. And sometimes you've got nothing. You're just kind of at the mercy of these home builders and their schedules or
Mhm.
commercial projects or whatever. Um, and so weathering those scheduling storms becomes a lot more difficult if you're not diversified as a shop,
Yeah, absolutely.
because like, people might like, so if all you're doing is interior architectural, then over time, your social media, that's all it becomes populated with. So somebody comes to your page and they're like, well, I need a repair on my trailer, and they search up welders nearby, and maybe your pops up, and then they look at your website or your Instagram or something. They're like, whoa,
I can't
like,
afford
I,
him.
I, I'm not going to call that guy to fix my trailer, even though I could totally do it,
Yeah.
so you're not
It's not
getting
gonna be
those
that
calls.
much money.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe I had a dead week or 2 weeks or something like that, where it's like, yeah, I would have done something like that.
Yeah.
But you're just not getting those calls because, you have, by no fault of your own, it's just, you know, the way it
Mhm.
plays out over time, your portfolio just kind of tends to become one or the other.
Yep, absolutely. I
So,
can see
so
that.
I guess to circle back to the original question, yeah, I'm looking to diversify a little bit more, and that's one thing that I learned in the past is to not just pigeonhole myself into one thing. And it also adds some, diversity to your job, like, you could be working on a multi-million-dollar home, and then the next week you're in a gravel lot putting on a a cargo carrier for a flatbed semi trailer, and that's it's different. It's a change of pace, and I like
Mhm.
that instead of just, doing the same things over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hate doing I hate doing the same thing over and over again.
Like, what's your most hated? Like, somebody comes to you and you just cringe and just,
Something that takes 2 minutes to do, but it takes 30 minutes to talk to me and explain to me how to do it. So,
yeah,
I've had, like, legit, there's a guy, he brought in, I have a couple of them. There's a guy, he brought in a pair of pliers, and he wanted me to weld it back together. And I'm like, "Bro, this is like $6. Go to Craftsman and buy another pair of pliers."
yeah,
Like, no.
yeah,
Some guy, he brought his dishwasher rack to me. because one of the little bars in it, like rotted out, and he wanted me to, like, weld a new stainless steel bar in there. I'm
Yeah.
like, "My gosh, no."
Yeah.
You know, people show up with, like, and, like, we don't have a sign outside of our shop, but we are on Google. So, people show up with these tiny little things. They're like, "Hey, can you just weld this back together?" Like, from the time, like, time they pull up, I stop what I'm doing, I talk to them. They're like, "Oh, it's really nice back here, blah, blah." We spend 10, 15 minutes talking, and then like, then if I try to say, like, if it takes me 5 minutes to fix it, but they've wasted 20 minutes of my time or 25 minutes of my time because now I have to get back into the flow of what I was doing before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if I try to give 'em a bill for $75, they're gonna be like, "Dude, what the heck?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I like
So do you
I hate those jobs, and I hate being that guy, and, like, it's just that's why I don't advertise for that, and that's why I don't wanna be on, like, my shop to be on a main road or anything like that, because I don't want that stopping work. Because I know a lot of guys who have that. So, yeah, that is really my, like, I don't mind it, like, much more the truck beds and welding on this and, equipment and red iron and rail stairs and railings get hated on a lot, but I freaking love them. You know what I mean? So, there's not much I really don't like other than things that I can't that distract me and or are just like, "Why did you even
yeah.
bring this to me?"
Yeah, like, do you have, like I have a 1 hour minimum. If it takes me 5 minutes, still getting
Yeah.
charged for an hour, and
Mhm.
I get the same thing too, someone will see my truck in the parking lot or something, "Oh, you're a welder. Hey, I've got this patio chair
Yep.
that
Yep.
broke. Can you re-weld it?"
Mhm.
And you're like, "No, like, go it's cheap Chinese pop metal,
When I have
like."
the opportunity, I absolutely do that. But when they pull up to you and they hand it to you, and they're like, "Hey, can you just do this quick?" Or it's like your friend told me to come to you for this,
Yeah, that's tough.
and then, but because, like, sometimes I'm like, "Hey, I'm in the middle of something right now. We have a 1 hour minimum. Like, it's gonna be $120 for me to do anything for you,"
Yeah.
and that usually scares them off.
Yeah.
But, like, if it's like, John, like, your buddy Mark or John or Chris sent me over here, "Can you do
Yeah.
this, like, 10-minute job for me or 20-minute job?" I'm like, "Okay." And honestly, the 5-minute jobs, if they're truly 5 minutes, I will do it and just be like, "You know what? You're friends with him. Don't even pay me. I just
Yeah.
please
Glad to help.
just go." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, it's the
But what
20 or
truly takes 5
30-minute
minutes,
jobs.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
yeah,
So
people were like, "Ah, it's just like a 5-minute job." I'm like, "Nothing takes 5 minutes."
it
Yeah.
takes me 5 minutes to make an invoice for you.
Well, and I think and I think it speaks to the broader point of that the general customer out there just truly has no idea of what it costs to run a business,
Mhm.
and what you need to charge an hourly rate, and like what your time is worth. That's like you said, it's an opportunity it's a lost opportunity cost when you stop working on something else to take care of them. You're losing the time on the more profitable project,
Yep.
like you were saying with the stairs and railings. I mean, stairs are typically like a really high margin, good money maker. And if you have to pull yourself away from something like that to handle the smaller stuff, it's hard, and
Yep.
or someone says, I I can get this widget, whatever it is they need, for $800, and you're like, well, I'm gonna have a full day into that plus design time. It doesn't just like appear like fairy dust out of the sky, like the design. If I may need to chop it up on my computer screen for an hour, to iron out some of the fitment details, whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, and it's 500 in materials plus whatever your daily labor rate is, and it ends up being 3 to 4x what they can get it on the internet for, and then they think you're
Yeah.
they think you're trying to pull one over on them and that you're,
Yeah.
scammy. Yeah,
Yep.
it's tough. It's tough.
I
I
tell
just,
everybody, I'm like, if you can go buy it, do it. Like I'm not,
yeah,
I cannot replicate something that somebody has already designed, they have engineered, they buy the material in bulk, they
it's
have a
produced at
process
scale.
line,
Yeah.
yeah, set up. They can, they have a line that they put it on the powder coater. I'm like, I cannot be that. I tell everybody, I'm usually double what you can buy it for if you can buy it somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
unless you need it fast, unless you can't get that part for 4 weeks, okay, then we'll talk. But,
Mhm.
if you can go buy it, please go do that. Like
Yeah. Yeah. That's I mean, yeah, you hit on it exactly. Like these products are produced at scale,
mhm.
typically in a welding sweatshop somewhere, if not overseas.
They're wearing
And
flip-flops, like
yeah, yeah, I know. You see those reels on like Instagram or whatever, like some guy like stick welding, he's like crouching in flip flops somewhere over in India. But and that's kind of hard to manage people's expectations of like what things actually cost. Like
Yeah,
I had the garage door overhead door guys come over and tune in my overhead doors, and they were here for about a half hour, but it's a 1 hour minimum charge, $225.
mhm,
You hire an electrician to come over, it's an hour minimum, $225 or whatever. Had the
yeah,
HVAC guy come over, and when I first got here, again, $225 or whatever. And if they would have been here for half a day and like maybe would have had to get some parts or something like that, that's $1,000 bill.
yep.
And but for some reason, like they just think like welding and fabrication should just like everything takes 5 minutes. Like what is that? Like, where does that expectation come from? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I think, it's up to us to kind of help educate, the
Yep,
clients. Man, I have to drive out there and measure, come back, get on my computer, get into CAD. The CAD software I run, it costs $1,000 a year. The computer to run that CAD software, costs X amount of dollars.
mhm.
The price of diesel right now, just driving over to your place and back, and
Yeah,
so
and the time, like,
yeah, and then you
I have to charge the minimum of what I explained to him, I'm like, "Look, I could be sitting here talking to you, doing a shot measuring up for your job, could be on a computer doing computer work, or I could be out there in a welding shop. My overhead does not change. Therefore, I need to charge you, like, the minimum of what my shop rate is just because that's what I have to make on
you
something." You know
have
what I
to.
mean? Yeah.
You have to.
I see people who charge, like, less money for design work and this and maybe they can do that. Maybe their overhead for the design work is cheaper, or, doing free estimates and stuff like that. I'll give you a free estimate if you give me good pictures in an email and a phone number. I can talk to you about it for 10 minutes on the phone.
Yeah,
I
you
can
can
give you a
hip
really
shoot
good
somebody
estimate
a
with that.
number. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hip shoot a number and just be like, "Look, I'm gonna bracket you a price. You're looking between four and $6,000 or whatever. And if their eyes don't explode out of their head, that's like the first way to kind of sift through to if somebody's serious or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that like a free estimate. But if somebody wants like a proposal, like a true proposal, a design, a rendering, or anything like that, I mean, you just have to charge. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel that like there's one shop rate should cover everything, like design time, fabrication time. It should all kind of be the same because especially as a small shop, if I've got 4 hours of design time on the computer and I'm only charging $100 an hour
Mhm.
and my fabrication rate is 150, I'm losing money
Yep.
in there when I could be fabricating. So, in my eyes, it all has to be the same, and it just makes things easier on you as the business owner to just charge a single rate. I think unless somebody if somebody can give me an argument, for a variable rate, I'm all ears, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. Well, so as we land this, I have, you've been in this for since about 2016. You've got some
Yeah.
time under your belt. What is one thing that you wish you knew back when you first started out that you would give yourself advice for right now?
That's a great question. I mean, there's so many things, but you just have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable because it just never stops. Like if you're not stressing about one thing, it's another. Too much work, not enough work. Like those things
Yeah.
are stressful, and that stress will eat into your life, and it will
Hmm.
affect your quality of life, and it'll make you question everything you're doing and all that. But I would say be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Know that you know the same problems are going to be there tomorrow and the next day. They're never going away. You can't get ahead of them. The second you put out one fire, another one's going to come up. You just take it as it comes, and
Yep.
don't sacrifice your personal, physical, and mental and emotional, spiritual well-being um, for anybody
Mm.
because it's not worth it.
Yep.
It's not worth it. We
Yes.
all get into this racket for different reasons. Going back to what we first, most of us are unemployable, and we're reasonably good at a skill,
Yeah.
and so we take a run at it, and uh, ask yourself why are you doing this? Like
Hmm.
why? Is it for the challenge? Is it for ego? Be honest with yourself. Like why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Is are you trying to build a legacy for your family, like something that you can pass down, or are you doing this just because every boss you've had is an idiot and you can do it better? You know,
Yep.
or you
Yep.
think you can do it. You
And
think you
spite.
can do it better. But one thing you find out is when you are the boss, you're like, ah, I guess it isn't as easy as Like when you're employee, it's you look at the boss, you're like, ah, he's an idiot. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but it's tough. I would just um, yeah, ask yourself why are you truly doing this? And be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If it's purely ego driven, then okay, that's fine. Just be honest with yourself. If it's
Hmm.
because it's about money, that's fine. Just be honest with yourself. If it's just about the craft and the trade and the satisfaction of you know coming home every night with dirty hands and um, you know being in the mix all day, then which is what I love. I love just being on the tools and coming home dead
Hmm.
tired at the end. I just love it. But just ask yourself why you're doing it, and let that guide your decisions.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Scott, it's been great spending time with you, man. Where can everybody find you at to check
Thank
out
you,
your
Kevin.
work?
Well, Salvation Garage on Instagram, Salvation_Garage. Just recently started up a YouTube page, Salvation Garage as well.
Awesome.
Uh, I'm gonna try to do a couple things with that. I just finished up filming a little thing. I'm gonna call it "Work with Me for a Day." Kind
Okay.
of set of episodes and just kind of give a peek into just an average job. So we'll see how that goes. I
Awesome.
really don't have too much on there now. And then Facebook, Yellowstone Metal.
Yellowstone Metal.
So those are the three I'm on. I'm not on TikTok or anything like that, but
Good.
those are enough for me. Yeah.
Probably better.
Can barely keep up with those. Yeah. So Kevin, thank you so much for having me on. It was truly my pleasure.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Scott. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Thanks.